Hello and welcome, I'm Spencer with Wintersong Games, and this is going to be a short introduction to the TTRPG that I'm currently finishing up, called Everybody Loves Zombies. I wanted to make a short video about the overall system and the parts that make it up. For the overall system, I wanted to make a TTRPG that had a more hardcore feel to it, where situations felt dangerous, where characters weren't going to survive full campaigns very commonly, and there was more a risk for overall failure for the party. So in doing this, each of the pieces of the game had to be taken into consideration. For instance, one of the first systems that I looked at creating was the stress and trauma system. Stress and trauma are a growing, fluctuating system that inhibits the players over long periods of time. Secondly, the health, hunger, and hydration. Health levels, I wanted them to be at a minimum for both the active players and the undead that they'd be facing, but I wanted it to make the players feel more vulnerable, unlike some more popular games where you might have hundreds of HP and be able to bullet sponge with certain characters or classes. Hunger and hydration can also reduce the amount of health that you have depending on how hungry you are or how thirsty you are, and can also increase the amount of stress that you take in daily. I don't want to delve too deep in this video about the specifics of each system. I just want to go over a brief overview. So one of the more exciting parts of the system is I wanted to create a luck or fate or inspiration type system to give the players more reason to reach for their goals and continue going even in the face of the immense adversity that they'll face. So I created the hell yeah, oh shit system. The hell yeah is what players use in the form of points. For the majority of the interactions that players will have in this game, they will be using their skills. So I created a vivid tapestry of what I wanted the skills to look like, because they're going to be every bit as important as every other part of what the players use and do and interact with in Everybody Loves Zombies. The skills are obviously broken down into 6 categories. These categories will be determined during character creation, an origin, one that you pick. On the left side of each of the skills, there's a single box meant to be used to tag skills that can increase to 5 total points, where unmarked skills will only be able to increase to 3. Limiting players on the overall focus of their characters, but tag skills can be earned and given through other means, not just character creation. Each individual category of the skills, though, break down into like the interpersonal skills are used as they offer more bonuses to your living allies, where horticulture will help players build a more sustainable existence. Now, one of the parts of Everybody Loves Zombies that I really wanted to focus on was the dire situations that you could be in. The undead are dangerous in a couple of ways, which I'll get into. But for now, the status effects was something that I looked at because I was thinking, how do I put the players in the feeling that they are in grave and immediate danger consistently? And I thought status effects are great, especially ones that can linger over multiple sessions, and really take you out of, defending yourself, using your skills, and, that growing sense of stress and trauma that your character can go through by having a broken bone or some kind of long-term profuse bleeding. Because I wanted the players to experience a wide variety of things that could last over multiple sessions, stress you out, dilute the amount of hunger that you get from items, and nerf some of the skills and abilities that you have throughout the game, because again, I wanted a more dire, hardcore type situation for the players. I added different levels to each of the status effects. Each of these levels are obviously more detrimental to the players as they grow, like being exhausted, being hungry, and being stressed, which is different than the stress and trauma system. Only really a couple other notes. So things I didn't cover in the beginning were origins and extended origins, which you'll choose during character creation, and alongside those you also choose a trait. These three things together will be parts of your character that are both the character themselves for their origin, their skills, abilities, things that they know, where their extended origins are things that they have available to them at the beginning of the game, such as you might have access to a piece of land that you know intimately about, such as a park, where you work, where you live. Whereas traits are things that are more specific. They kind of extend the origin from your character and give you both a positive and a negative aspect to your character for more role-playing aspects, but also mechanical downsides and benefits. For example, traits can be things like you have a living family member with you, that you travel together. This family member will have basically access to a couple skills that you don't have access to, that they can assist you with throughout their time being alive. Unfortunately, they are more vulnerable to failing and becoming, one of the undead or just dead, period. Throughout the game, you earn certain things like Hell Yeah points, status effects. You gain hunger and hydration, stress, trauma, and skill points. Skill points are earned through a few different ways, but to use these skill points, you will make a roll at the end of a session to gain more skills, but I wanted it to be more difficult as you increased your skills, which will be reflected in a more extensive explanation of the skill point system. Lastly, I want to talk about skill points. They'll be the way players boost their skills throughout the campaigns, and overall how they get better at the day-to-day things that they do for surviving. One of the main ways that players will earn skill points is by using certain skills that will give players a skill point towards that skill when it is used every session. The downside to that is the higher a skill is, say you have a level 4 in gardening, say you are a horticulture player who takes care of the food for you and the other survivors, and you want to gain that 5th level. You will have to roll the 6-sided die and score higher on that die than the amount of points you have. So you'll have to score a 5 or 6 if you have 4 points. Now, if you don't score, you both lose the point and roll again. There are certain objects in the game, like books, that will lower the difficulty of this roll by 1, thus letting players get skills a little bit easier, especially in the higher levels. There are bonuses the players can get temporarily, such as from magazines and spending Helia points on certain skills. This will not exceed if they're a tagged or untagged skill. Well, that's it for this video. I've been Spencer with Wintersong Games. This was just a brief overview of Everybody Loves Zombies, but there's more coming in the future as far as information about this game. Each of the systems will be done more in depth in their own videos, and how they work with each other and how they work overall with the game. Two things I didn't go over was the schemes and last chance action, which I will cover in their own videos. Well, that's it for this video. This has been Spencer with Wintersong Games. Thanks for watching. Well, that's it for this video. I've been Spencer with Wintersong Games. This was just a brief overview of Everybody Loves Zombies, but there's more coming in the future as far as information about this game. Each of the systems will be done more in depth in their own videos, and how they work with each other and how they work overall with the game. Two things I didn't go over was the schemes and last chance action, which I will cover in their own videos